Okay, hello. My main purpose here is to explain the difference between demand and quantity demanded. But first, I want to just review what demand actually is, because it's a really important thing when you're talking about economics, and if you don't have it down really well, then you're going to get lost later. So, um, demand, I should write down macro, because we're talking about everybody, the economy as a whole, macro. So demand is, at a given price, how much does everybody want to buy? How much is going to be sold at whatever price it is? And the way that we draw this out is we have some axes, and this is just a shorthand way of holding a lot of information. We want this axis to be price, and this will be quantity. Quantity. So we could write out with a little table of price and quantity. We could write out what everything is, but that doesn't give a really good intuitive sense of what's going on, and it's just not easy to see. So, we graph it on here. Um, and the slopes for demand, I'll get a whole different color. The slopes for demand always go negatively. Well, I don't know if always, but for any normal product, anything that comes in a box or, food and fruit and toys, anything that's just sold in a regular market is going to go negatively like this. So the price point can be set at whatever the company wants. They could set it up here, but that would be 0. If they set it right here, if they set the price, I don't want to get into numbers, because then I'll probably just do the math wrong for one thing. But if they set it at this point, then what's the quantity they're going to sell? We follow it down, and that's 0. If they put the price at I don't know, $100 for whatever it is, then no one's going to buy it. So what does that make their profit? It's $100, great, but if they're not selling any, then they're not making any money. So where's the best place for the company to be? Maybe it's at the opposite end. Maybe if they sell, if they sell it at this point, then that's $0. They're giving them away. I think you can see that this isn't the best business plan. Then everybody will buy them. I don't want to use 100 because it's not always tied in like that. It's not 100 and 100. I'll say 50,000 people or 50,000 units sold. You have to define what the quantity is, but 50,000 people will have this air conditioner in their home, or you will sell 50,000 cupcakes, or whatever it is you're talking about. So if you sell 50,000 or 50 million, we'll say, even better, 50 million cupcakes at $0 each, you're still making $0. So somewhere in the middle you want this price to be. And the movement along this curve, it's called a curve, but mine is straight. If you start here selling it for, we'll just call that 50. If you're selling it for $50 or 56, it almost looks like, and you move the price point, and as the seller, you're able to do this. You can move it up to 100 if you wanted to, but we'll say we move it to 75. Don't worry too much about the numbers. I just want to get the idea down. So if we move to this new point, I'll write the new point in magenta. So if we move from here to there, that is a change in quantity demanded, which I'll write over here. Quantity demanded. And I wish I could write a little neater. Quantity demanded changes because of the price. It's affected only because the company changed the price. If they lower the price to $25, and then that will cause the quantity demanded to increase. And it's not that people want this product a lot more. They, an orange is an orange, but then people are opportunistic and they say, "Oh, it's a half price. It's only 25 cents instead of 50, or it's a cheaper orange, so I'm going to buy more of them." More people will decide to use them. More people, it's gonna move on this axis in the higher direction. More people are gonna buy oranges or air conditioners or whatever it is, just because it's cheaper, not because oranges taste better now or because it got hotter outside. It's just because the price fell, and that's why it's quantity demanded. But on the other hand, let's say we can say it's summertime now, or it's a heat wave, and everyone all of a sudden wants air conditioners. You might say that's an increase in demand, and you'd be right, because it's not affected by the price. The quantity demanded is all about the money. It's all about the price, but demand is the actual intrinsic value of the product in the customer's eyes. So that's not a shift along this curve. If the heat wave comes, more people are going to buy it, so we'll be somewhere along this line. Let's say that's our line. I can't say 75. Let's see, what would that be? We'll say 30. 30 million people now want air conditioners instead of the old 20. Okay, because it's hot. That doesn't mean that the price will automatically be lowered because it's a heat wave. I mean, they might put on sales or whatever. There's always more going on, but just the basic, the real core idea here is that demand is intrinsic. All of a sudden, people really value air conditioners. They'll say, "I'll pay anything just to get out of this heat. I'm dying." And what that means is maybe the price will stay at 50. It was 50 before, and it's going to stay at 50, but now they're on 30. So what do we do? The price is, 30, 50 is all the way out here, not even on the curve. And that's because it shifted. We now have a new curve. And, the reason that it's not just a bump off the old curve, why do we need a whole new line over here, is because, these 30,000 people are willing to pay $50, and the people who were willing to pay 75 before are now willing to pay a little more. They were, let's see, new color. They were right here before. It's not a new color. Okay, so let's say the more rich people, or the more willing to spend money people, used to be a little above average. They would spend 75 or 60 or wherever this is. And now they're willing to spend 100, which we saw before. 100 was out of the question before. Now we've shifted the curve, and $100 is reasonable for the more stuffed wallets of our country, and let's say the cheap people, or not necessarily the poor people, but the ones who are maybe they're hardier, they can deal with the heat, they're tougher. So they were spending $25 before, and there were 30 whatever of them, 30 million, and now they're willing to spend $50. And, well, I don't know what else to say about it. That's the demand and quantity demanded. It's two confusing terms that get in the way of each other. But I think that's about it. I'm done with this video now.